Looking at UV TV, motherfucker. I'm gonna kick special ass and do for my people. On God. Neon nigga for Featherman here. And today I'm gonna be talking about how the 12 apostles slash disciples of Jesus represents the transitions of the sun cycles and explain the different pockets for each of these things for the most part. All right, so to explain this in a real simplistic type of way and stuff like that, the same way how you be seeing Jesus with the sun behind it and stuff like that, it being like the Son of God, and things of that nature, aka the the idol worship, the sun worship of all possibilities, it playing out its solar plexus and stuff like that, its characteristics, and him bringing down that type of energy into the physical and things of that nature. It's just sun worship or like idol worship, and it based upon the 12 cycles, 12 sun cycles and the 12 transitions or the 12 zodiac signs or the 12 houses and stuff like that. That's like Jesus being the sun and the sun showing different spectrums and shades and light forms and information of how to look at certain visions or thoughts and ideas and feelings, and then it'll like transmute into an emotion that resonate towards other people and stuff like that, which can basically look at it like from an allegorical sense based upon like, you know what I'm saying, like it having the inspiration type of spirit behind it and things of that nature, and then each disciple basically representing like a specific type of idea, a specific type of masculine thought, because all of them were masculine, right? So it's talking about different specific type of masculine thoughts, and the apostles, just in general, or the disciples, were looked at as like messengers. So the same way how you be looking at angels and stuff like that, and they're the messengers of God, aka all possibilities of and stuff like that. It's based upon Christianity and that religion, and them showing, oh, we gonna try to turn this thing into like a cosplaying type of way and stuff like that. Like, oh, we gonna make people look at this in an indoctrinated shape and form, because looking at things based upon indoctrination, right, you have to read that book or that holy book, that sacred book, based upon the words and the language and um the terminologies and stuff like that, and pay attention to these allegories, and they look at God like a deity. From them looking at God like a deity, only a deity or a demon like being called God, aka being in shape and form, aka come into a name and title, and they just anthropomorphize these things, not something that was actually walking and living in the physical. Them probably watching these different characteristics of, you know, different men in real life playing out these characteristics, but not someone who's actually called that, or someone who's actually being that, actually walking on water in some way, shape, or form, right? So it's kind of like Jesus being like the sun, and the sun going through his sun cycle, aka different transitions and stuff like that, right? Based upon the 12 disciples or the 12 zodiac signs or the 12 houses, and them being the messengers of that specific house, that specific, you know what I'm saying, that specific vision, that specific idea in each and every pocket and stuff like that. So the same way how you be looking at Aries through Pisces or the first through the 12th house, and things of that nature, right? It's talking about those specific pockets if you want to make it make sense in an astrology shape and form. Well, really, in a an astrology perspective, and then based upon them being saints, based upon them being saints, and then looking at these things as like holy and sacred and stuff like that, or divinely and stuff like that. It's basically talking about like the metaphysics of the astronomy from that astrology, aka them looking at that observable event based upon the celestial bodies, and them trying to be the walking atmosphere, the walking stars, the walking emanation of what these things is. They just do that based upon that Christian format and the Abrahamic religion based upon monotheism, and them trying to make you look at God like a deity and stuff like that. Or, you know what I'm saying, like that one God mentality, and then you can only do it from um goddamn the Holy Spirit and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Like you look at them as a trinity, you only go to them based upon the language they use and stuff like that to make you follow in that shape and form. When from an overall perspective, is them cosplaying as other people's spiritualities, and them using different allegories from what they learned to make it make sense, um, to make it make more sense into their way of what they look at as saintly and stuff like that. But you only got that terminology from actually paying attention to other motherfuckers who playing out these different characteristics, and y'all try to make allegorical moral codes of how to look at it. So, right, like based upon the what they call that shit, like the four gospels and shit like that, you have Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, right? So um Luke represents like the bull or like the ox, and that's Taurus, right? That's Taurus, or like the second house. So that's 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And then Mark will be represented as the lion, and the lion represents Leo or the fifth house, and that's 2 to 4 p.m. And then John represents the eagle, and that's like Scorpio, and that's or the eighth house, and that's from 8 to 10 p.m., right? And then Matthew represents a winged man, and that's Aquarius or the 11th house, and that's from 2 to 4 a.m. So all the way down to like the Jew and the Gentile and stuff like that. It's just them playing out the Star of David, or them trying to be the walking stars of the atmosphere, aka the sphere or the world, that most trying to be like the celestial bodies, and them making their own way of how they look at heaven and stuff like that. But their own way of looking at heaven is just monotheism, which goes to Abrahamic religions, which goes into Christianity, which is going to go into some type of capitalist colonizer type of mind and stuff like that, and trying to turn that into some physical version of what that is, and trying to find some sacredness and grace when it comes to that, right? And they just use a whole bunch of different terminology when it comes to allegories and anthropomorphizing these characteristics, aka these thoughts or ideas or these visions, and from them being in that mind and them representing each and every pocket from Aries through Pisces, or the first through the 12th house, or the four gospels, like I just explained, aka the four fixated points and shit. So Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, or Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius and stuff like that, right? It's they're trying to make up like their own way that they know what they're talking about, but from overall perspective, it's like an allegory from different sun cycles, different transitions and stuff like that. So all the way down to the degrees, all the way down to when they be talking about, oh, this happened 30 years and stuff like that. They're really saying 30 degrees, and then 30 degrees take up each zodiac sign and stuff like that. And then when that sign goes through that transition or a cusp and goes into the next sign, it's gonna go into another 30 degrees and stuff like that. So 30, 60, 90 and stuff like that. And then 90 is like 3 months, and that's like a season. And then based upon those seasonal transitions, that's basically what the fuck they talking about for the most part. It's just when it comes to the four gospels, aka the four messengers and stuff like that, or what they look at as angelic and stuff like that, or a higher angle how to look at something. That's like, you know what I'm saying, like the symbolism and the what they call that shit, like the mysticism behind it, like the Jewish mysticism. Yeah, that's what it is, like the Jewish mysticism behind it, of what they look at as like esoteric and mystic or spiritual, or the type of space they like to be in when it's talking about representing these things. That's why a lot of these things, like these like people that they be talking about being like holy or like saints and stuff like that, right? A lot of them end up being fishermen, aka fisher of men, aka men and women. So them representing like men, like actual men will represent like a thought or idea, and then the woman will represent a feeling or an emotion for the most part. So that'll give you an easy perspective when you be looking at the Bible of what the fuck they be talking about. And then they be talking about a specific desire, a specific idea, a specific thought, a specific feeling, a specific emotion. That's why Peter will be representing faith, or Andrew will represent strength and shit like that, or like Jacob will be like a supplanter, so someone who takes another's place, often through like cunning or you know what I'm saying, like swindling somebody. You know what I'm saying? That's why like he had to fight with like the angel on top of the mountain and shit like that, and end up killing his brother, all that type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all I was talking about for the most part. Now, from you understanding it from an allegorical perspective, based upon like the Jewish mysticism behind it, you can start understand the astrology, the astronomy, the anatomy. You can play out these characteristics, and it's just thoughts and ideas, feelings and emotions that you know what I'm saying, based upon the spirituality behind it, or the space that somebody in, and they psych their mind up to actually be into that inspiration or representation of what that is, and then try to play that out in the physical. So it's not no thing that you feel like it's something outside of you that you don't have access to. At the same time, humans made up these words and terminology in the first place, so you can do the same shit too, just like Jesus. So based upon this, it's just them, aka Jesuits, for the most part, based upon them being a religious order, a real legion order, aka a real legion of people who think in a certain way and they self-projecting, aka they want to spread the good word or the good message or the gospel of Jesus and stuff like that. They're just trying to show that self-projection type of energy of them trying to be the main stars, aka, you know, how the sun is a star or a celestial body and stuff like that. They trying to show you how they look at heaven. They trying to show you how they want you to follow Jesus and stuff like that, aka follow their indoctrination, follow their sacred ways and stuff like that, follow their starting point of how they would want to create something for themselves to be the walking emanation or walking cross or walking star and stuff like that, and their type of culture and stuff like that. But the only culture that's only going to get represented is self-projecting, or, you know what I'm saying, trying to force someone to think a certain way based upon the religion you practice, and you being that more follower type of spirit. And then if someone don't want to be in that follower type of spirit, then we're going to do this by force and shit like that, all the way down to martial law, or like you going to hell and stuff like that based upon words and language, and you know what I'm saying, like going against some type of theological point of view, philosophical point of view of how to be looking at the world and things of that nature, and like some Zeus, Kratos, Jesuit Jesus face in the sky or some shit like that, of how they look at the heavens, like some star character white face in the sky, like dead ass, bro. But yeah.